Okay, ready to dive into some pretty fascinating stuff today. We're taking a deep dive into the world of stem cell therapy.
It's really amazing stuff.
Yeah, we've got a ton of research piled up here, articles, even a whole Health Matters podcast episode.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think our listeners are going to be blown away by what we find.
I think so too. It's a field that's generating so much excitement, and for good reason. Stem cell therapy just has this incredible potential, for treating so many things.
Oh, yeah, from injuries to chronic diseases, it seems like stem cells could be the answer to everything.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Right, of course. Got to start with the basics.
Yeah.
What exactly are stem cells? Like, why are they causing such a commotion in the medical world?
Well, the Health Matters episode had this really good analogy. They said stem cells are like the raw materials of your body.
Oh, okay.
Think of them like the building blocks that can become, well, any specialized cell you can think of. Muscle, bone, nerve cells, anything.
So they're like blank slates, like they can become anything.
Exactly. They have the potential to transform.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
It is. And that ability to transform to regenerate and repair damaged tissues, that's why it's so valuable in medicine.
Yeah, it opens up possibilities, right? Like treating conditions that we thought were incurable.
Right.
Now I keep hearing about all these different types of stem cells, animal, plant, embryonic. It gets a little overwhelming, to be honest.
It can be? Yeah. Let's break it down a bit.
Okay.
So first you've got animal stem cells and plant stem cells. And they work in fundamentally different ways.
Okay.
Animal stem cells, they directly replace damaged cells in your body. It's kind of like swapping out a broken part for a new one.
Okay, I get that.
Plant stem cells, though, they don't work like that.
No.
They act more like signals.
Signals.
Yeah, they stimulate your body's own repair and regeneration mechanisms. They're not directly replacing the cells.
So it's more like they're coaching your body to heal itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh. Interesting. And that approach, I guess that comes with some advantages.
Definitely. Now, you mentioned different types within animal stem cells.
Right, right. Embryonic adult stem cells. I've heard those terms.
Yeah, those are the big ones. So embryonic stem cells, obviously they come from embryos.
Hmm.
And these are the most versatile. They can become pretty much any cell in the body. They're those raw materials we talked about.
Right.
Adult stem cells, on the other hand, those are found in different tissues like bone marrow, fat,
Yeah,
and they're more specialized. They can only turn into certain types of cells.
I see.
Then there's also perinatal stem cells.
Oh, yeah, I think I read something about those.
That's a newer area of research. These stem cells, they come from tissues related to childbirth, like amniotic fluid, umbilical cord blood.
Wow.
And they've shown some really remarkable potential, especially for regenerating tissue. Researchers are looking into them for things like cerebral palsy, even spinal cord injuries.
So each type has its own like strengths, its own uses.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds like we're just starting to understand what stem cells can really do.
Yeah.
But let's focus on those plant stem cells for a bit.
Yep.
What makes them so unique and why are people so excited about them?
Well, one of the biggest things is how accessible they are.
Okay.
We can grow them from plants. We don't run into the ethical concerns that sometimes come up with embryonic stem cells.
Right. Yeah.
Plus, they're readily available, and they're a lot cheaper to produce than stem cells from animals.
That makes sense.
It can cost thousands of dollars to culture animal stem cells, but plant-based ones can be made for way less.
I mean, that's huge, right? Especially if you're trying to make these therapies available to more people.
Exactly. And another big advantage is there's no risk of immune rejection with plant stem cells.
Oh, that's right, because they're not coming from another person's body.
Right. Your immune system doesn't see them as a threat, which is a major plus.
So it's not like organ transplantation where rejection is a big concern.
Exactly. And here's another interesting thing. Plant cells, they naturally live longer than animal cells.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. That means that the therapeutic effects, well, they could potentially last longer too.
Wow, that's fascinating. Now, I remember reading something about plant stem cells being full of antioxidants.
Oh, yeah.
And that got my attention, always looking for ways to stay healthy.
Sure. And antioxidants, they're crucial, They protect our cells from damage, the kind of damage you get from pollution, stress, even just aging.
Right.
So the fact that plant stem cells have all these antioxidants is definitely a big plus.
Okay, this is all really promising, but I have a question, and I bet a lot of our listeners are wondering the same thing.
Okay.
What about our stem cells, the adult ones, the ones we already have? Do they get worse as we age?
That's a great question. And, well, unfortunately, yes.
They do.
As we get older, our stem cells, they experience the same wear and tear as the rest of our bodies. Things like smoking, bad diet, just time passing, all of that can affect how well they work, how well they regenerate tissues.
So it's like our body's repair shop slows down as we get older. That's a good way to put it. And that's actually a big reason why plant stem cell therapy is getting so much attention.
Oh, I see.
It could offer a way to work around those age-related issues and help our bodies heal themselves.
Makes sense. Now, another thing I keep seeing is sublingual delivery. What is that all about?
Oh, sublingual delivery, that just means you take something under your tongue.
Okay.
And it's becoming really popular with stem cell therapy because it lets the treatment go directly into the bloodstream.
So it bypasses the digestive system?
Exactly. Faster, more efficient.
Like a fast track for those stem cells.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And non-invasive, which is always a good thing.
Oh, for sure. So we've talked about the types of stem cells, how they work, how they're delivered.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the benefits? What can stem cell therapy actually do, especially those plant-derived ones?
Ah, well, that's a great question. And that's what we're going to dig into in the next part of our deep dive.
Oh, okay, so a bit of a cliffhanger.
Just a little. But I can tell you, plant stem cells are showing some amazing potential in a whole range of areas.
Really? Like what?
Treating chronic diseases, things like diabetes, heart disease, even things like skin health, anti-aging. There's a lot to cover.
Well, I can't wait to hear more. Stay tuned, everyone. We're just getting started on this incredible journey into the world of stem cell therapy.
It's going to be fascinating.
So before we took a little break, we were talking about the potential of plant stem cells.
Yeah, lots of exciting stuff there.
You mentioned that they could even help with some pretty serious conditions like diabetes and heart disease.
Oh, absolutely.
But how? Like, how do those plant stem cells actually work in those situations?
Well, remember how we talked about plant stem cells being packed with antioxidants?
Yeah.
And they've got anti-inflammatory compounds too.
Yeah, I remember.
And those can be really helpful when it comes to managing chronic conditions like those.
Okay, so can you give us a concrete example of how that would actually work?
Sure, let's take type 2 diabetes. One of the big problems there is that the body can't regulate blood sugar properly.
Right.
So the thinking is that plant stem cells, with their ability to stimulate those self-repair mechanisms, well, they could help regenerate damaged pancreatic cells.
And those are the cells that make insulin.
Exactly. So it's not just about masking the symptoms, it's about getting to the root of the problem.
I see. So it's about actually fixing the underlying issue, not just managing it.
Exactly. And the same idea applies to heart disease. There's been research showing that plant stem cells might help grow new blood vessels.
Wow.
Which could obviously improve blood flow to the heart, potentially reduce the risk of heart attacks.
That's incredible. Now, I know we mentioned skincare earlier. How are plant stem cells used for that?
Oh, they're making a big splash in the beauty world.
Really?
Plant stem cells, they're full of compounds that can actually boost collagen production.
Ah, and collagen's that stuff that keeps our skin, springy and wrinkle-free.
Exactly. So they're being put into all sorts of things, serums, creams, even injections, all designed to rejuvenate the skin, fight those signs of aging.
So it's like a natural fountain of youth. I like the sound of that. But with any new technology, and this is pretty cutting-edge stuff, there are always questions, right? About safety, effectiveness, all of that.
Oh, definitely. And it's super important to be cautious with stem cell therapy. Do your research. Don't just jump into any treatment.
So what should people be looking for when they're evaluating different stem cell therapies? Like, how can they tell if something's legitimate?
The biggest thing is to make sure the clinic or the provider, whoever you're considering, that they're reputable, that they've got the proper accreditations.
Right.
Look for research, real evidence, not just hype. And always talk to your doctor first. See if stem cell therapy is even right for you.
That's great advice. Now, with all these potential benefits, it's easy to get carried away, right?
It is. It's important to remember that stem cell therapy is still a relatively new field.
Okay.
The early results are really promising, but we need more research to really understand the long-term effects, the limitations, all of that.
So it's not a cure-all, but it's definitely something to watch closely.
Exactly. It's evolving so fast,
Mm.
and it really could revolutionize healthcare as we know it.
Speaking of revolutionizing healthcare, I've read about scientists growing organs in the lab using stem cells. Is that like science fiction, or is that something that could actually happen?
That's actually moving forward incredibly fast. They've already grown simple organs in the lab, things like bladders, tracheas using stem cells, and they're working on more complex ones, hearts, kidneys.
Wow. So imagine a future where we don't need organ donors anymore. We can just grow new organs.
It's becoming more and more likely. Think of what that would mean for people with organ failure, genetic diseases. It's huge.
It really is. This whole field, it's just mind-blowing, isn't it? It feels like we're on the edge of something brand new in medicine.
Absolutely. Stem cell therapy is opening up so many possibilities. It's really exciting to think about what the future holds.
So we've covered a lot of ground, the basics of stem cells, how they could be used to treat all kinds of conditions, even the future of regenerative medicine. But if you had to pick one key takeaway for our listeners, what would it be?
I'd say that stem cell therapy, it's a really powerful tool with the potential to completely change healthcare.
Okay.
It's early days, yes, but the research is moving so quickly, and the possibilities for treating diseases, for improving human health, they're really remarkable.
That's a great point. But before we move on, I have another question, something that's been on my mind.
Okay.
We've been talking about all the potential upsides, but what about the downsides? Are there any risks with stem cell therapy? Any ethical concerns?
That's a really important question, and it's one we need to think carefully about. Like any medical treatment, stem cell therapy does come with some potential risks.
Okay.
Some of the common side effects, pain, swelling, infection at the injection site.
Okay.
And there are some rare but serious risks too, like tumor formation, immune system reactions.
So it's not a risk-free treatment, and people need to weigh those risks against the potential benefits.
Exactly. And then there are the ethical considerations, particularly around the use of embryonic stem cells.
Right, because those are coming from human embryos.
Exactly, and that raises some complex questions. There are strong arguments on both sides of that issue.
I can see that.
We need to have open, honest discussions about these concerns as stem cell research continues to develop.
So it's a powerful technology, it has amazing potential, but it's not without its challenges.
That's a great way to put it. It's a field that needs ongoing research, careful consideration, and a lot of open discussion to make sure it's developed and used responsibly.
Well, I think this has been a really insightful look into the world of stem cell therapy.
It's been fascinating.
We've covered so much, but there's still so much more to explore. I feel like we've, I don't know, only scratched the surface here.
Yeah, definitely. But that's what makes it so interesting, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Stem cell therapy, it's just full of possibilities. It's constantly pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible in medicine.
It's almost like, I don't know, science fiction coming to life.
It really is, in a lot of ways. And that's what I find so fascinating about it.
Yeah.
We're seeing a real shift in how we think about healthcare, moving away from just treating symptoms to actually addressing those root causes of disease.
Right. It's about real healing.
Exactly. Healing and regeneration.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So as we learn more about stem cells, I mean, what do you think we'll be capable of? What's next?
Well, imagine a future where we can repair spinal cord injuries, regrow damaged heart tissue,
Wow.
or even cure those, those neurodegenerative diseases, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's.
Those are some pretty bold predictions.
They are. But after everything we've talked about today,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound so crazy anymore, does it?
No, it really doesn't. So how do we get there? What can we do to make that future a reality?
Well, I think it starts with staying informed, having these conversations, supporting research, ethical and responsible research, of course.
Right.
We all have a role to play in shaping this future.
I like that. So to our listeners, stem cell therapy, it's not just a medical breakthrough.
Right.
It's a glimpse into a future where human potential could be totally redefined.
Absolutely.
So keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions. Pay attention to this field because it has the power to change everything.
It really does. We're seeing the future of medicine unfold right now, a future full of hope, full of possibility. It's an exciting time.
It really is. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of stem cell therapy.
It has.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and a special thank you to our expert for sharing their knowledge with us today.
It was my pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring the wonders of science.